Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. You ready?
I don't know. Tell me, what's the most shameful thing you've, what is it, what are you the most shameful of in your life?
Am I allowed to say nothing?
I guess so. I mean, or like,
Is that like a lame answer?
well, I'm curious, you know, you've been experiencing, it sounds like to me like you've been touching the shame that a lot of men feel.
Yeah.
That seems it's new to you in experience from a coach. It sounds like, but I think, Mike, I'm curious, do women have any idea how much shame men hold?
I feel like I'm just scratching the surface with feeling into this, and the way that my life has naturally unfolded is I've been only working with women, and this year many men, through my vulnerability and transparency and just honesty of my own past, which I do think, and even back to your first question, like I do think a lot of people carry shame around any sort of, you know, for me specifically, that part of my past where I was having an affair.
Mm-hmm.
And I've come to a place where I no longer carry any shame, or do not carry or hold any shame within that. But because I'm talking about this shadowy part of the human existence that so touches so many of us, many men have seen themselves in me and have opened up very, like, in a beautiful way to share these like deeper, darker, secretive pieces of themselves. And I've started working with men this year, and almost instantly the energy that I felt as like the strongest thread or through line that they're all holding is a pretty deep, intense level of shame.
Wow.
And that has been exposed with me. It almost feels like I'm like, and we were talking a little bit about this earlier, like I'm like the vehicle in bringing this up and out, because I can pick up on there being some sexual energy between myself and them, and the fear that exists of, like, for them it feels almost like guarded, and I'm so like, I'm gonna dig right.
Yeah.
Like I can hold you, and let's stay here, let's stay in this room. And I can pick up on it of like body language, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of discomfort, and I'm just grounded because I'm curious and there's no judgment. But I feel the intense levels of like, I don't want to be in this right now, or like I want to run, or I want to escape, or like leave.
And when you say they want to run and escape and leave, what I'm picturing, and maybe it's different than what you're talking about or experiencing, is these micro moments that we have as men, where it's either something sexual pops to mind, it's a sexual fantasy, or it's just something fleeting, completely involuntarily, right? And this doesn't just happen with women that we're attracted to, right? It's just like boop, and it goes in our minds, then gone, for the most part. You know, I'm sure it's depending on who the person is, maybe it stays around longer. But I remember, you know, growing up in a Christian house and going to, you know, Christian Sundays where everyone's got the smile on and everyone's perfect and nothing's wrong in anyone's life and whatever. I remember this shame around my own sexuality, you know, even when I was, I think the first time that I, let's say, I don't even know if you could call it masturbated, as like orgasm, you could say. I think I was just like grinding on a pillow.
Yeah.
You know, actually, well, not, I think I know exactly what it was. I was laying in the bed. We were traveling. My family were at like Disneyland or something like that. Must have been 11, maybe 10, 11. I don't know. But like, I could ask my parents when we were at Disneyland, and I had my cousin's room, and I'm in his bed, and beside his bed is like Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders calendar, and I was like, it looked all. I was having sensations around it that I had not experienced before, you know. Mm-hmm. And I remember even going through that experience and just being like, I will not tell anyone about that ever, you know. And all the times since, always like hiding it away, and it was kind of talked about. My parents were relatively open with stuff. That said, it's almost like these layers of reasoning to not express what is actually being felt, right? For a man anyways. I was reading this book. I wish I could remember what the stats were, but like men think about sex something like, I don't know, someone look it up and put it in the comments, like 100 times more than women. And it's just so instantaneous. And so what it sounds like is you're experiencing with this guy or whomever, one of your clients, is they might be having one of those moments about you, right? It would be a natural thing for a guy to have, especially because there's probably a new power dynamic than he's used to on that call, potentially, right? And so he's probably like having thoughts that he's not used to having, and he's used to trying to like this loop happening of like, I can't think that and put it away. I definitely can't think this because this is my coach or whatever it is. And you might be, attuned to his micro expressions on him having that experience of wanting to push something away. You're feeling there's something in the space that's not being, shared, and you're wanting to bring it forth. I mean, I'm trying to think of, I might know 2 guys that would actually express what they were thinking in that moment. But these are 2 guys that are incredibly self-aware and comfortable with their own sexuality. I would say 99.9999% of guys would never express that they even had that thought. That's what I was kind of reading it as. Is that what you're sharing?
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And it's a new experience for me because I've been only working with women before. So there's a level of discomfort sometimes when we push the edge, right? When they're like, I don't know the answer to that, when we're going a little bit deeper below the surface, but it's not sexually charged. And I can feel as a woman, I can feel the sexual energy. And I also can name it because that's a big piece of my role is to name it, to be like, what's happening right now? I'm sensing a little discomfort. Like, are you feeling some discomfort right now? And they're honest about that, but they're not honest about like what's actually happening internally. And so this has just been separate.
And this is the fucking thing right here. We can't be. Men cannot be.
Why?
We've learned. You're you. You're one in a cajillion that has the space and understanding and a deep, epic level of self-acceptance that then your level of self-acceptance like opens up a field of acceptance for people that are talking to you. That's my experience as being your friend, right? It's like, I can talk about anything. She's not going to judge me. That's because you've gone so deep into yourself and stopped judging yourself.
Yeah.
To a massive extent, right? Huge extent. And if a man is in the presence of a woman who hasn't done that work, you tell me what's the word that she's going to call him if he says he's had some sort of a sexual thought or something about someone that he quote unquote shouldn't have had that thought about in that moment, or he shouldn't be thinking about these things. What is she going to call him?
Probably a creep.
Fucking creep. Exactly. Yeah. The number one thing that men do not want to be is a creep.
So what, you do everything in your power to mask it, to put it away, to suppress it, to push it down?
Imagine growing up hearing or living a life hearing the thing that you want most, which men more than anything else want women. Period. We're biological. That's how we're wired, right? Yes, we want to be on our mission and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, nothing matters more than women. It's in us, right? You got to procreate and have a species and all that jazz. So imagine hearing one of the things that you want more than anything else speaking with this like vile tone about a guy who's a creep. Oh, this guy's a creep. This guy's, he's yuck, ick. And the visceral reaction that a woman has around when she feels that a guy's being creepy, right? And you guys, the thing is, women are so attuned to energies in the space. My friend Holly, who's here, who we're just hanging out with, she says, she was at some workshop and she was saying, they were saying that the definition of creepy or creep is an energy that's present that's not being expressed. So there's this presence of, a man is like sexually attracted to you, or there's something there. Most of the time, probably totally involuntarily for the guy, right? But he's not expressing it, but you're feeling it, and other women are feeling it, and they're going, "Ooh, because it's an icky energy when someone's hiding something," right? Yeah. So if we grow up and have that experience around seeing women call other guys creeps, and we don't want to be that, and therefore a thought comes up that we know would not be accepted by a woman in this whatever scenario it might be, right? And it could be simple as like, let's say a dad takes his child for parent-teacher interviews and realizes the teacher is attractive. That would be a quote-unquote inappropriate place to find someone attractive, right? There's a lot of inappropriate places, and because of that shame, it layers on top and just makes it exponentially more powerful, right? You know Esther Perel?
Yeah, love
Is
her.
it Epic, right?
Yeah.
I put on this event in California one time where we had, the whole vision was like women speakers and men attendees. It was mostly men attendees. A lot of women wanted to come, so we gave some tickets to them. But Esther was one of the speakers, and she said, "Do you want to know why so many men turn to porn?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Because they cannot be rejected there, and they're shame. They don't feel shame there, right? They feel shame afterwards, watching it a lot of the time. It's a place of acceptance for all the things that they're thinking and experiencing throughout the day." You know, I mean, I wonder. I'll stop talking here in a second, but I'm really curious. What would male sexuality look like if it wasn't shamed?
Yeah. And like that's where I want to go, because is it a useful tool? Like, does it need to exist? Because
What, shame?
Yeah, and maybe not to the degree in which it does currently, but
Yeah.
like what would that look like if we lived in a world where men weren't constantly feeling like they had to push that down or suppress that part of themselves?
Well, you know, it's a really funny thing, because I like to think about the male sexuality is best embodied by gay men.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to know what guys would do if there were no stop signs, you know, if there weren't women to be like, "No, slow down," just gay culture, you know. Whereas I've got a buddy who's gay, and he would tell me all sorts of stuff. Do you know they have do you know what a bear is?
I mean,
A bear in the gay
No,
culture,
no.
a bear is just like a big hairy man.
Okay.
So there's bears and there's queens and there's all of these different, sects within gay culture. And he says carte blanche. He says, across, no matter if you're a bear or whatever, he's like, if a man looks at another man for like more than 3 seconds, it's on. Right? You go to like at a club or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy, by the way, put in the comments if I'm wrong on this, please. But this is what I've been told by multiple gay men, is that you look, it's like 1, 2, 3, let's go, in the right scenario.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like that in gay male culture, and it's not like that in gay female culture, you know?
Right.
So this
right.
is, it's like, if you want to see what male sexuality would look like run rampant potentially without shame,
Yeah.
it might look like that.
Well, my question in that is like, does it have to be expressed as like, we're going to go have sex, like we're going to go sleep together? Like, could it be expressed in a way where we're just honest about it, where we're having the conversation?
Yes.
Like, and that's, I mean, I don't know.
Sounds much more helpful.
And I was telling you this story when I was waiting for my Uber yesterday to fly here.
Yeah.
There was a moving truck that I was walking past, and I'm like a friendly, I'm like walking by with my suitcase and my workout clothes, and I just smile at this guy, and he, I mean, I told you his reaction. He looks at, it was like he didn't realize that I was looking at him in the moment, but we were looking at each other, and his reaction, I think he even grabbed his dick. Like his, it made me so uncomfortable. I just instantly felt extremely unsafe. And he was like a bigger, like local guy. Yeah. And I just kept walking. I'm like, I'm not going to turn back right now, because I know what is happening. It was like his external world showed what was happening inside. And yeah, it made me super uncomfortable. But like, and that's what I mean. Like, is that what it would look like if there was no shame? Maybe for some people. I'm just so curious of like, and I think my role as a coach, that dynamic is different for a lot of men, because I'm more in like a place of authority, and not that I'm telling them what to do. I'm asking them questions about themselves, but because I'm holding space for them, it's almost like, especially men that are, have reached a level of success and are, they're the founder and owner of their business and their company. And so everybody comes to them as like their God. And now all of a sudden they're in this vulnerable state.
Oh, wow.
And that's the piece that I feel is like, oh, you haven't shared this part of yourself with anybody. And so even though I'm asking, you still feel like I have to put layers on layers on layers on top of this, and I can't open up and express it. And that's the thing where I'm like, what is that? Like, what's happening in there? Can we go there? Can we bring that up?
I just think of, I'm curious to know what rules or ethos or like what kind of set of agreements is being enforced through society, right? Like even the thought, well, men shouldn't think like that, or a guy shouldn't think like that in this scenario. I usually look at it as like religion. That said, maybe we go down like a weird path here with me for a second. I don't know where it's going to go, but like, let's see a flashback like 500,000 years, okay? 200,000, 300,000 years ago. And all humans are living in very like small bands, right? Like you have 10 people, 30 people, 50 people probably on the high end, right? Of these groups of people. And they're nomadic. They go where the animals go. They don't stop. They don't stay anywhere. Agriculture hasn't come around yet, right? And at that point, evolution would say the highest and best chance of procreation is just like everybody sleeps with everybody, right? That's how it's thought to be, is that back then, people didn't actually know which child was quote unquote their child because everyone's having sex with each other, right? And so there's a vested interest for all of the men to protect all of the children and all of the men to protect all of the women. You know, there's a vested interest in them not knowing. From a survival standpoint, it's more beneficial for people to not know whose kid is whose, right? Because the whole crew gets protected, and males protect females and kids from other males and all the things. And then you fast forward like 10,000 years ago, agriculture gets invented, and that's the first time that humans stop moving around, right? They start staying in one place, and it's the beginning of ownership. It's like, okay, now you're like, okay, this is my plot, this is your plot, blah, blah. And now there's ownership involved. And because there's ownership involved, you have a vested interest in actually knowing who your kids are so that they can take over and they can work on the farm and stuff like that. And that ownership of agriculture, this is my deduction from research on like some anthropological stuff that rabbit holes I've gone down, is that ownership over land started to seep. In my mind, I haven't expressed this even verbally to anyone yet, but in my mind, I've got it. I'm calling it the disease of ownership. Okay, so we think we own this land, then we have a vested interest in knowing which kids are ours, and then as soon as that happens, then men start to, not on purpose, start to want to own women's sexuality, because the only way they're going to know which kid is theirs is if only as that woman is being loyal to them. And therefore they want to own that sexuality. They want to own the rights to that sexuality, which brought about, chastity belts and like this weird obsession with virginity and all that kind of stuff that exists still today, right? Yeah. And apparently, you get agriculture, then you get towns, then you get cities instead of these like little nomadic tribes. And then when that happens, you get disease outbreaks, and it makes more sense for people to be like in little pods by themselves, which actually protects us or keeps siloed disease outbreaks. Whereas if everyone's fucking everybody in a city, then everybody's going to get everything, right? And so you get this higher and higher vested interest, let's say, for lack of better terms, in owning women's sexuality. The thing that can never be owned. The thing that is femininity.
Yeah.
And so you get the masculine trying to own something that obviously cannot be owned. It's literally like, can you cage the ocean? Impossible, right? And then religion comes in. It's not like religion invented ownership over female sexuality. It enforced it. It like locked it in, And so now we have this whole line of events that led to men wanting to control female sexuality. And the real shame here, I'm not trying to turn the tables, but like there's how much shame is there, like slut shaming, and how much shame is there in a woman being highly sexually active? She's designed to be highly sexually active. Like that's why we have a species, right? But we and I can tell you from men's circles, we love to pretend that women are not sexual. They're only sexual with us in that bedroom. We've only ever had eyes for us. And they're aside from us, they're just like virgins out there and all that kind of stuff, right? Which isn't possible.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as simple as a guy, my own thought process in the beginning of like a guy just has these thoughts and that are in essence shameful. It's like these layers that have happened, or like all of these moments starting with agriculture back 10,000 years ago that has led to us wanting to have like some cut and dried system of sexuality, which you can't have. It's impossible to have a cut and dried. So even like I was saying to you the other day, I'm in a relationship now. And in this relationship, I'm discovering stuff about myself sexually that I had no clue about. And I'm 44 years old. Like literally last night, I'm by myself, she's not here, she's on the mainland right now. Last night, I'm in the bathroom and I'm sitting there going, what if I never would have found this out about myself? There's stuff that I like that I didn't know I liked. And I have tried to find things that I like. I told you I went and I hired a dominatrix to teach me how to be a dom, right? Not to like she didn't actually do dominatrix stuff on me. I sat to like just hired her to sit and chat with me and be like, how does it work? What is this, this power dynamic? And I searched and went and explored with this other, call it a sexual therapist, to find out other things that I like. And I'm finding it through this relationship. So long story long is I'm curious if let's say we didn't have shame. Let's say we didn't have slut shaming and shaming men for having too many sexual thoughts and all that kind of stuff. What would sex look like? What parts of us would be revealed via that aren't, that are like getting covered over right now because we can't express them.
Well, and we're like, to that point, we're building all this resentment on both sides, right? Like I think a lot of women, myself included, have come to a place of, oh, there's so many different parts of myself that I haven't touched, that I haven't tasted, that I haven't unlocked. And that can come up through any long-term relationship where you lose attraction or things shift, you grow apart, whatever the reason is. And then you become this version of yourself and you have all of these desires that are like activated from different moments or conversations with friends, however they're coming up. And then you feel all this resentment because you haven't been able to explore. And then you decide that, okay, I want to leave this marriage or I want to leave this relationship and I want to explore and I want to uncover these parts of myself. But it can go on both sides. I would imagine the man likely feels some of that to a degree of like, I want to be able to explore more, but you're both existing in this relationship where you're not communicating and you might not even know the things that you like or the things that you want to try. And you're building upon that and you're just living this life that's like your aliveness is turned way down. And then because of that, your resentment builds.
100%. And I picture the moment that breakdown in communication happens. I remember like viscerally in a relationship that I was in, multi-year relationship, I remember the moment that our sex life took a really horrible turn. Looking back, it was on me to bring it up and be like, hey, look, and it's like, can be these micro expressions, right? Like, oh, what? You like that? Or you like this? Or I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it right now or whatever it is, or feelings of rejection. That's like the very beginning of the downturn for, I would say, for a couple like I was half of before, where we weren't communicating super well, right? And like, I don't know, I was messing around with a couple of friends of mine who are coming here in 2 weeks. We're building up the Taylor Love offer together, and I was joking about something, and one of the guys texted back. He goes, "I don't yuck anyone's yum." Which is, I think, a thing that like in the like polyamorous community is like a saying. And I said, texted back, I said, "I love how you swingers talk." And, but it's a great thing. It's like, I don't yuck anyone's yum. I don't put down anyone, what gets anybody off.
Yeah.
And I think that I really believe like whatever the act is, let's say the act is an act that someone might judge as like, ooh, that's not a good act, or it's a role play that someone thinks is out of bounds or whatever it might be. I think any role play or toys or act or whatever it is, they're all methods of expressing an energy that wants to be felt, right? They're all just a vehicle. If someone's doing a dom sub thing, the dom is probably yearning to feel control, right? And of service, because at the end of the day, in the dom sub dynamic, the person who's in control is the sub. That's the only person that can say no and can stop the whole thing, right? With one word, right? So it's like what I think is the most fascinating, whether it's beyond shame or, coexisting with it, is what is the energy that wants to be expressed? And if we looked at the act or the whatever gets someone off as simply a vehicle for expressing that, then wouldn't it be cool to kind of go, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an act that someone might do that would be, what's like a sexual act that someone might judge?
I don't know, like feet. I don't know why feet is coming to mind.
Okay,
Someone
great.
has
Yeah. That's
kink,
a fringe.
A kink with feet.
Okay, feet. I don't know what the energy is getting expressed there. Maybe it's like, do you know?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
Why someone is into feet?
I'm not into feet.
I'm not into feet either.
Okay.
But some men are like into toes.
I love 'em.
Like the toe sucking thing. I don't
know.
know.
We got to pick a different one.
Okay, sorry.
Let's say it's like something like a humiliation type.
Yeah, we were talking
dynamic,
about that.
right?
Yeah.
Let's say one of the partners wants. I heard there's guys that there's some sort of these videos that's a woman with stilettos crushing a cockroach or something like that's a kink of some sort.
I had a man tell me he wanted me to step on his dick with heels. I did not do that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a thing. But that's
So
linked
let's
to
use that.
That's linked to humiliation, right?
So let's use that, and using my reaction to that. I was like, oh, right? I just
Yeah.
yucked his yum, right? I was just like, oh no, you should like, but that's, I'm kind of viscerally not wanting to feel that. But the energy that he wants to express, think about it. You in heels, specifically something that only women wear, by and large, right? I know it's 2026, but like most of the time only women wear heels. So it's a feminine thing, stepping on the most masculine expression, the biggest expression of masculinity on his body. The thing that differentiates him between him and women is his penis, right? So feminine thing, squishing, inflicting pain upon masculine thing. So the energy that likely, potentially, I'm not an expert in this, but like likely wants to be expressed is like controlled by the feminine. The feminine is in power, put in pain by the feminine, potentially. There also might be something even deeper of the feminine is doing what I want, even if I want it to hurt me. So there could be like an even deeper thing. I don't know. That one is not a kink that I've
Is
tried.
that the mother?
nor
Is
plan
that
to.
attached to like a mother
I'm
wound
in
potentially? That's where my mind goes.
I honestly, I'm hesitant to call any of them wounds. I'm like, that's a thing that someone happened in their past that has like helped shape what their sexuality is now. But yes,
Yeah.
it absolutely could be. So if that's the energy that wants to be expressed, imagine instead of like, ew, this guy wants to get his penis stepped on by a stiletto, gross. Rather than that, why don't we look at it and go, oh, this dude likes to play with the energy of him being less than, or him being controlled. How else can we help him play that out?
Yeah.
And there's no shame in it.
Yeah.
It's just an energy he wants to express.
Yeah.
And last thing on that, it's like, I prefer to be in control in the bedroom. Very much. The sexual therapist that I went and saw like freaking 10 years ago or something like that, I was living in San Diego, and the dominatrix woman who I said, hey, can I just pay you to just like sit and talk? I want to tell me the psyche behind all of this. I need to know. I was so like curious. She goes, you got to go see this woman. You don't ask me any questions. Just go see this woman, pay her for a session. And I'm like, all right. So I was very exploratory. I guess I still am, but that hasn't slowed down. So I go see this woman, and she goes, we sit and chat in front of her fire. She's very nice. She's probably in her like say mid 50s. And we chat. And at this time I was like maybe 35 or 36. And she asked me about my childhood and upbringing, asked about mom and dad's relationship and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, okay, great. She's like, well, what do you want to try out today? I'm like, what do you mean? I thought, aren't we doing that? Like, we're talking. She goes, oh, no. She goes, how about this? She goes, go around the curtain just like this. She goes, go around the curtain. She goes, take all your clothes off and stand in front of the mirror. I go, all right. So I go around the curtain, and I'm like, I'm up for anything. And another half hour, probably an hour, I don't know, it feels like a lifetime, goes by where she tries all sorts of different things on me, right? There's a time, I don't know, we want this podcast to be able to like be aired on public platforms, but let's say there was a time where she was spanking me with something, and she's telling me, she's like, green is, it's all good. Yellow is it's starting to hurt. Red, stop, right? And she was trying to teach me about boundaries. And then she had this glove that had like spikes on it, and she was like on my back doing this glove thing to see if my body reacted like favorably to pain, which it didn't. And so I got to explore all these things. And again, I was not attracted to this woman.
Yeah.
So it's like this interesting neutral place to explore these things and the power dynamic and whatever. And at one point she's like in my ear, she's like, you're such a good little boy. And I was like, okay, like does nothing for me. Right. But it was cool to explore. Yeah. And so even in exploring all the things that do I want to be a sub? Do I like to be a good little boy? Do I like to put all these things? I realize I'm very confident that I really like to be in control. And therefore I get to be curious, like what in my childhood led to that? I can tell you, I had a very controlling mom. Hi, Mom. She listens to these things sometimes, but she would agree, very controlling. And I didn't feel like I had any control. And therefore, and I'm sure other things involved, I'm sure as well, but like, therefore in my adulthood, I'm in control now. It's almost the little boy still playing out, right? Like I'm in control now. And that's what kind of gets me off. It's like, yes, I'm in control, which is new to that nervous system that was formed, before the age of 7. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm curious the things that have like within that, the things that you've just recently unlocked of like, oh, I didn't know that I liked this. Does that have to do with control? Are you in control in those moments? Because the one you shared with me last night, you were not, right?
Well, I don't know which one I shared with you.
Thinking about the younger version.
Oh, she was. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, I know.
I'll just for some. I was really curious about how my girlfriend's sexuality was formed. I was like, you know, in high school, were you making out with guys? Were you sleeping with guys? What were you doing? Like, and I found it really interesting to hear that. And I'd never been interested in hearing any past versions of anyone before in my life. And I found it like really interesting for her to be like, well, yeah, I mean, I first kissed a guy when and she told me more than that. And I found it really interesting how I was like, wow, I'm like very curious about this. And it's, for me, it's a turn on to like know how someone's sexuality was formed in a way.
Is there a connection to that of like watching somebody that you're attracted to? Because I've had conversations like this with men where they enjoy watching a woman with other men. And I don't know if that's necessarily in this relationship for you, but like, is that but that can be shameful for a lot of men, admitting that.
I've been so curious about that one because I have been so jealous in relationships before where I felt, and in the relationship that I'm in right now, I'll be like, oh, is she seeing anyone else? Like we're long distance. So there's those moments, right? Of like, what if get in my head about it. And rather when I'm in my head about it, I go, oh, there's a lot of energy here. Is there actually some sort of weird kink down there? I don't know. You know, I have no aspiration to see my girlfriend with another man. That said, it's more of a example of when there's a lot of energy present, there's potentially something there.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But you were asking about like what I've learned in this relationship. It's more like I know her and I have very complementary energy yearnings. The way that I really like to feel intimately, it just completely complements how she likes to feel intimately, right? Like I have some friends that are both want to be in control.
Man
they got
and
divorced.
Woman?
Yeah, they lasted like 3 years and got divorced, and they tried being in an open relationship because they were just not fulfilled. Because they both wanted to be the sub. They both wanted someone else to control them. He wanted to be controlled. She wanted to be controlled. So therefore, no one was like really in control. They'd have to switch. They have to try out this other, energy that neither of them liked. And so they ended up getting divorced. And she's gone on and married a guy who's very much a fit for that dynamic, right? And she's married now, has a kid now, and is extremely happy with the guy. And she's a really awesome, accomplished author in this space, and she talks about this stuff a lot. But so for her, my girlfriend and I, it's just I guess is energy and whatever brought us together. But I feel like we stumbled upon incredibly complementary energies, where because they're so complementary, I'm not just like doing her a favor by stepping into this role for a moment, because we're in the roles that we're in 99% of the time. We're now making them more extreme and feeling into like, do we like to go that far? Do we like to go that far? Is there even further to go? And in going to an extreme that neither of us have gone to before, we're getting to meet parts of us that we've never met before. And I'm having these parts of me like that are like getting unearthed simply because of getting to go into an extreme that I didn't get to explore before.
Yeah. I'm curious, does that relieve shame? Does that because if you're exploring, if you're expanding your levels of exploration, right? And you're an edgy guy, and I mean that in a positive, like beautiful thing. Like you've opened me up in a lot of ways to feel a lot more comfortable even having these conversations. Yeah. And so like you've pushed the edge quite a bit in your life and in your experiences. And I'm wondering if like the more you expand on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my sense is that we carry shame around the parts of us that we haven't yet been able to touch. Yeah. Like we have this desire, it's there, it's deep down, right? Yeah. Even like, bringing it back into my own experience, the me being the coach, right? And the female, like I'm like, there's a desire here for you. There's like some sort of turn on, and I can feel that energy, but you're not allowing yourself to go there. And so I'm curious if like...
Wait, are you saying about me specifically, or are you
No, not you. Okay. I was just saying with some of my clients, like that's the shame that they're holding is because they're not allowing that to exist. They're pushing it down. But by you exploring, I was just connecting the dots there a bit, if that didn't make sense. Sure. But like by you exploring and continuing to push those edges, the things that maybe you haven't touched before,
I'm terrified. It's bringing up. I went to bed last night full of fear.
What do you mean by that?
It's just bringing up. It's just like it's all these parts of me that I have not seen before, and because I'm new to it, I project my reaction to those parts of me which are not fully accepted, right? I remember the first time I was standing in a circle of 40 people. I think I've told you about this moment before.
Yeah.
At let's call it a tantra retreat, and standing in this group of 40 people, and they're giving out statements. They'll say something like, so one person will say, "I am straight," and whoever's straight takes a step into the circle and then take a step back out, right? And someone says, "I'm gay," and if you're gay, then you take a step in, take it back out. I like to be dominant in the bedroom, and that one came up, and I was so embarrassed by it. I was so embarrassed that I like to be dominant in the bedroom. It was the first time that I was like, oh God, someone's going to know. I took this step in, and so did a bunch of other people, right? And I was like, oh God, I'm not the only one. Okay, I'm not as sick of a fuck as I thought I was.
Why did you think that?
I was just very judgmental about myself. I'd not met that part of myself. I thought you're supposed to like have normal sex and do the thing. And this was in my 30s. And took a step back out. And the next statement was, I like to be submissive in the bedroom. And then I watched all of these women take a step in and then take a step out. And I sat there and I was like, oh my God, not only is it accepted that I like to be dominant, it's wanted. I was like, blew my mind.
It took that moment for that
to connect. Even though 50 Shades of Grey had been out for a long time, and it seems like every woman on earth has read it. There's,
yes, we have.
There's something there.
Yeah. But
But it just had not clicked that part of me would be accepted, because I hadn't accepted that I had liked something a little bit maybe out of the norm. You know.
So is that the fear that you were feeling last night? Of like, this is new,
well,
so
it's like, because it's new to me, because and when my girlfriend and I talk, we try stuff out, we test stuff out. I might say something to her, I was like, pretty edgy. Like, what do you think of this? And like, I won't say, what do you think of this? So what do you think of this? Get ready.
Men do not do that.
No. It's like, can I kiss you? Like, no, dude, just kiss the girl.
There's nothing worse than that.
So, but I'll try stuff out, and I can see based on her like micro expression, oh, that didn't hit. Or like, not okay. And the way
Can you share an example? Is that allowed?
No, I'm not.
No? Okay.
I'm being sensitive in that her and I have not had the conversation of like, what nuances of our sexuality can we talk about?
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
I appreciate the sacredness. It's okay.
That's why I'm keeping it like we are complementary energies, and it doesn't take a genius to read into that enough. But we try these things on, and where was I going with that? Oh, right. And in trying them on, I'm trying it on for the first time. I've never said this words before. I might be creating some sort of an interesting scenario in my mind, right? Like, oh, you're this and I'm this. What do you think? Like that's my, I was kind of like, what does she think about that? And she's like, and she might say, oh my God, I love that. Right? Or that thing you did yesterday, that was, by the way, that I don't know why, but I really liked it. Yeah. And so then the next time we're being intimate, I'll go a step further. You know what I mean? And so we're going to places that I've never been, I've not played there before in my own psyche. I've not allowed myself, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just, because I'm also doing it in service to her. I'm like, I think she should probably like this. I'm thinking, like, here's the energy that she likes. This would probably embody that energy. I've never thought of it. It's not a turn on for me, but this might be good for her, right? And if I bring it up, then I'm going further into the psyche, and I'm meeting parts of me that I've never met before. And I have feelings of, oh God, what if someone finds out? What if someone finds out? What if someone finds out that I'm not the, pure Christian on Sunday smiling at everybody?
Does anyone
version
think
or whatever
that?
it is? Doubtful.
Like, what?
Doubtful.
What fantasy world are you in? You're going to church?
Fuck you. Yeah, that's a really good point. But talk to my 7-year-old nervous system about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really know.
Yeah.
It's such a deep part of me that wants to be like really accepted and come off as perfect and got it all together and not messy and all that kind of stuff.
Which is so interesting to me because I relate to that fully. And the more what I've found and what I've learned is the more open I am, the more vulnerable I am about my past or about anything, current, present, a thought, a desire, any of that, it bridges more connection and it allows other people to go there with me. And it also pushes me to more of my own edges. And so it's like we're holding ourselves back with this fear, with this like made up fear of I'm not going to be accepted or I'm not going to be loved, and keeping ourselves in whatever box that we think we need to fit in to belong. And it's just I don't know. It's like the more I just keep thinking about like these men that I work with, I'm like, if you would just go there, like, and go there with me, like if you would just meet me in this place, there's so much freedom on the other side.
You're right.
Like, lean into this moment and share. And I know that it's easy for me to say, right? Because I'm like, just share with me. I'm so open. There's no judgment here. But like, the levels of fear and shame are so deep that it's keeping, and we all hold some version of that, right?
Yeah.
Where we hold ourselves, you know, I'll speak to my marriage. I was terrified to talk about my desires. Terrified. Like, they never came out of my mouth. Never, ever. And we just we were not exploring. We were not having conversations about that. I'm sure he was having his own version of thoughts, right? And we just never talked about it at all. And we like stopped having sex. We were not sleeping together at all. And I was not, and there's a lot of buildup that like leads to what brings somebody to that place. But that exists in so many relationships where they're just not sharing. They have this thought, and that can express as like, oh, I'm going to watch porn and I'm going to keep this part of myself so in the dark that nobody knows.
Yep.
And then, but that's felt. It's like an energy that's felt in your relationship. If you're fulfilling that need or that
man.
desire somewhere else,
Yeah.
and you're not bringing it here, I don't know. I'm so curious about these conversations of like, how do we kind of chip away at?
Yeah. I think it's like what you did. That's why your video went so far. That one that went bananas. How many views did that one get?
Oh, that one, I don't know, 14 million.
I mean, I think that's why it went so far. It's like triggering because it's so freeing. You know what I mean? It's like someone's in a jail cell that they like to be in, and someone comes in and opens the door, and they're like, "What the fuck? Close that door! I know everything in here. I'm safe in here, but you're locked up. It doesn't matter. I'm not locked up." You know, I think it gave permission for a lot of people to feel the feelings that they won't let themselves feel because you were feeling deeper, harder feelings and expressing deeper and harder things. I think that's why it went so far.
If you could, because you've pushed, again, back to this, like you've explored quite a bit and you've pushed a lot of your edges, and I know that you're still pushing the edge and going to those places. If you could say something to the man that is holding all of these unspoken desires, whether they're in a relationship or they're not.
Oh, okay, another guy.
Like, what would you? And maybe I don't think it matters if they're in a relationship or they're not. What would you say to that man?
Well, the quote comes to mind that was back from like 2020 times when everyone's getting censored and stuff like that. The quote was, "I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees." And I feel like that in relationships or in business or in life. It's like, if the risk is death, you know, then I'd rather stand up and die than live the rest of my life on my knees. You know, for me, I don't know if it's more of like resonates more with men than women or not, whatnot. But I think mortality, like the ultimate completion, is very motivating for me, right? And the number one regret, that men and women have on their deathbeds is living for other people's expectations, not for themselves. And so this would be an example of that. Let's say I just lived for the expectations of others, perceived expectations of others. I'd probably live not a fully fulfilling sex life, which means I would not have a fulfilling relationship. And people that think that those things can be like separate, like, well, you don't have to have a really good sex life to have a good relationship. Oh, great, you have a good friendship. That's nice. But I think anything that you hold back from your partner, obviously stuff that you're holding back from yourself, and the stuff that you were saying earlier, like there's so much freedom on the other side of it. That has been my experience every time. Is like the deeper I go with another level. Like I explored all sorts. I did nude modeling one time just to feel how crazy it felt to do that. You know, but on the other side is like insane amounts of feelings of freedom and comfort in my own body and all that kind of stuff. So. Well, what I say to that guy is I would say, well, first of all, it doesn't matter that I tell you that it's going to feel better on the other side because you're not going to believe me. All I would say is that you actually have no choice because living on your knees is not a choice. So good luck and hire Diarra.